Hey guys, this is Mel, and I'm here to talk about the originals, episode 512, titled The Tale of Two Wolves, which premiered Wednesday, July 25th, 2018 on the CW. I'm recording half hour after the episode has aired. This is the second to last episode of the series, so huge spoiler alert. If you haven't seen the episode already, please go do so first, then come back and see what I have to say about the episode. Otherwise, other video reminders are up on screen, so take a moment to remind yourselves of those. I'm going to try to do this in 15 minutes, so I'm going to start the clock, and let's begin with what happened in this episode. So timeline-wise, it is 1 week after the events of 5/11, which is the wedding. As it was stated in 5/11 that they had 1 week until the full moon, and this episode does cover the full moon, so 1 week later. Anyway, storyline-wise, though, I did pick up two distinct ones. First one being Hope's last day, and then the second one being Klaus's plan to save Hope. So with Hope's last day, we get Elijah chaperoning Hope around Mystic Falls, Elijah meeting Landon Kirby. We have Hope using magic on Landon's bullies back at the local high school, and then we get Hope having the chance to dance with Landon at the music festival that was happening in Town Square. Now, going on to Klaus's plan, though, Klaus wanted to go to Mystic Falls because he wanted the help of the Saltzman twins to siphon the dark magic from Hope as she's transitioning between human and wolf and put that dark magic into him. And then he plans to kill himself to rid the Hollow for good. So that was the plan. So far, they were able to take... Well, I guess the last scenes of the episode was Klaus getting ready to stake himself as the Hollow now resides inside him now. So Hope successfully survived her first transition. She's like a white grayish wolf now running through the woods. But she doesn't know that Klaus plans to take in the Hollow for himself and to kill himself shortly afterwards. So that's where we're left with the episode. They literally left it off and they cut to black right when he was about to plunge the dagger into his chest. So, right? Talk about as if we're not going to already watch the finale as it is, since it's supposed to be the series finale, right? So, anyways, character-wise, though, we saw a bunch of characters in Mystic Falls. First one being the return of Caroline Forbes as well as Alaric Saltzman. While Caroline is more receptive to Klaus and wanting to help him and be a good father towards Hope, Alaric, on the hand, he's a little more aggressive towards the hybrid. Don't know why, considering the last time they saw each other was 5 years ago. Was it? No. I believe it was... Was it 5 years ago, or was it when she was still a kid? Which was 7 years ago. I believe it was 7 years ago since... Alaric and Klaus have come face to face with each other. But anyways, some little hostilities between them there. But we do see the first time grown appearance of the Saltzman twins. That is Lizzie and Josie. Lizzie being the blonde, Josie being the brunette. You can kind of remember the fact that their namesakes were blonde and brunette. So there's that. They're 13 years old in this one, and they're siphoners. So they're witches, but they can't draw their own magic unless they have like a magical object. So instead they take magic from sources. So kind of like Kai, they, even as a baby inside the womb, they were taking the magic from Caroline's vampire blood in order to do magic. Also, they're kind of the starting points for the heretics. Heretics could become vampires and keep their magic because as vampires, they have a constant magic source, while as regular siphons, they don't. So anyways, siphons, the reason why Klaus wanted them specific is because apparently siphons aren't that common. So there's that. We do see the first appearance of Landon Kirby. He's a waiter at the Mystic Grill. Seems he has a crush on Hope. Plus, he's meant to be in the spin-off Legacies with her. So there's that. Also, we get the jock bully of Landon, which is Connor. And it was his car that Hope totaled with magic. So there's that. Tidbit-wise, moving on, we find out from Klaus, as he corrects Caroline, that all werewolves go through their first transformation as a rite of passage. However, the Crescent Wolves now are able to control their transformations after that first one because of the whole unification that happened between Haley and Jackson back at Season 2. However, though, because Hope is a hybrid, I think she can automatically... She should have control afterwards whether she transforms or not because she's a hybrid, not because she's a Crescent like all the others. Because again, unification only happened after she was born. So there's that. Freya and Davina were not shown in this episode, but they were mentioned as being holed up for the last week, trying to find a way to save Hope and consulting with other witches who came to the consensus that Hope wouldn't survive her full moon if she still had the Hollow's dark magic riding inside of her. Or I'm just making that clarification now. They didn't specifically say that she could survive if they got rid of that magic. But anyways. Also, we have Haley having Hope deliver a message to Elijah stating that she's still waiting for that dance with him that he promised her back in France 5 years ago. So there's that. That little tidbit right there affirms for Elijah that Hope really did see her mom, while Hope believes that it was all a dream. So there is that. So moving on to the most shocking moment of the episode, I will have to say it is the fact that Hope saw Haley. I was not expecting that. And then also to see Jackson too. We didn't see interaction. He was just kind of like in the background and stuff. But he saw Hope being there. He saw Haley. You saw him playing the guitar and everything. So I was kind of surprised by that. I mean, don't get me wrong. I'm happy to see familiar faces. But it's just logically in this sense. I mean, how can you really put logic to magic? But in this sense, I wasn't expecting it. So there's that. Moving on to top 3 favorite moments. I gotta say, there's a bunch of favorites in this episode. So first off, I'll say all the Mystic Falls references. I love that in this episode because, granted, a majority of the episode is in Mystic Falls. So we got a shot of Sheriff Matt Donovan's park bench that we saw him getting in the series finale of The Vampire Diaries. We also got Bonnie being mentioned. Alaric wanted to bring Bonnie in to do the spell for Klaus instead of putting his twins at risk, but Caroline said Bonnie can't do this type of magic because she's not a siphon. So I like the fact that they name dropped Bonnie first off instead of just kind of like indirectly mentioning her. So there's that right there. Also, Alaric's description of Klaus's reputation, he pretty much summed up just how awful their history was between each other, specifically, and he also brought up the history between Klaus and Caroline and how like Klaus is always going to cloud Caroline's judgment type of thing. But also what really got me was that while Alaric's describing Klaus' reputation, he even compares him to Voldemort while he's standing in a school for supernatural children. And I'm just still coming off the fact that Comic-Con last weekend, Julie Plec was saying that the Legacy's setup of the boarding school was kind of like an homage to like Harry Potter and stuff like that. So it's just like the Voldemort comments, like, oh, you gotta be kidding me here. Like, really? I liked it, and then it was just like kind of cheesy too. So there's that. Also, we got the return of Stefan's journal. It's in a display case, and it's also accompanied with the 1864 portrait of Catherine Pierce. And Hope made a comment at the fact that she pretty much memorized the whole journal now, and where she even states in a quote, or not quote, but roughly paraphrase, that in Stefan's journal, Klaus is the major villain with Elijah as his evil henchman. Roughly gist. But also, we get, many times we get description, and because of that, a few references of Klaus's own history over on the Vampire Diaries. His time in Mystic Falls was brought up. I love that as well. We also have Caroline referencing her impromptu trip to New Orleans. This happened during Vampire Diaries flash forward segments in 7:13 and 7:14. She was running for something, and was she running from the Hunter? I think she was running from Reina Cruz at the time. And she grabbed the twins, and she headed straight for New Orleans. And when she got there, she found out that Klaus wasn't in town. So that trip she mentioned, and it was the first time he heard it, and he was stunned to hear it. So there's that. But anyways, that was a major favorite of mine, was the fact that we got all these little references. I was kind of hoping to see any type of sign of like Damon or Elena. So we didn't get that, but it was great to see all the other different aspects and stuff. So there's that. Another favorite of mine was the fact that we got confirmation that Haley found peace in the afterlife. She's reunited in the bayou with Jackson, her parents that she never truly got to know, and Grandma Mary. Although we only see Jackson in this group of united wolves there. But also, I love the fact that in this afterlife, we got Haley telling Hope that she forgives her, kind of absolving Hope of any guilt she had towards Haley's death. I also love the fact that Haley told Hope to continue fighting to live, to not give up. And then also to have Haley telling Hope that she wanted her to live for many, many years and only to come back in the afterlife to see her again when she has lots of stories to tell her, including an epic love story. Essentially, when Hope asked her, am I ever going to see her again? And Haley kind of said, like, yes, but hopefully not for a very long time, which makes sense, right? So it was very interesting that it kind of plays similar to how the Vampire Diaries ended in the series finale, how we had Elena at the end of her long and happy life, she reunited with the family she had lost, and then same with Damon and Stefan at the very end. So huge spoiler there if you haven't seen it, I mean, honestly. But anyway, so I really liked how, again, we got to see Haley finding peace in the afterlife, how we saw a few episodes previously Josh had found peace in his afterlife. So there's that. Another favorite of mine has to be Klaus and Caroline. I love all the history that they dredge up between each other, the fact that they're also they've come, whenever they dredge up history like that, it truly shows how far they've come since who they are. Caroline always met, like, Klaus brings up old plans that they had used to conspire against him, and how Caroline's like, that's so long ago, I was just a kid, I didn't know any better type thing, and like kind of him bringing up like old plans, like to lock him up and throw him into the river and type of thing, to have him drown for eternity type thing. While gruesome, yeah, I know, but I like the fact that they brought up specifics like that from his time on the Vampire Diaries, so I like that. Also like how Caroline reacted to Klaus wanting to sacrifice himself to save Hope. Also love the fact that they almost, I don't know how to take it, it's either a peeve or a like, because I like the fact that they were set up to the point that Klaus was about to kiss Caroline, but then the clock tower rang and he didn't. So on the one hand, I'm disappointed that they didn't get to kiss, but on the other hand, I like the fact that he still upheld his promise to her back in 5/11 of the Vampire Diaries, where he said after they have their moment together in the woods, that's it, he's never going to pursue her and he's never going to go down that path with her again, as promised. And in a sense, while he didn't get to kiss her in this moment, he ended up still keeping that promise. While I still wish he had kissed, considering he plans to die that very night. So, right? So anyways, love to see Klaus and Caroline on screen together again. It's just, I love their story. I love the progression. I love how much developed between the two of them over the years, for sure. So moving on from that, Elijah and Hope, I really love the dynamic in this episode. I really like how, despite Hope's anger towards Elijah, especially when it came to like Haley specifically in his action or inactions, I guess, I like the fact that they still got to bond. He taught her how to drive in a Bentley. He got her some milkshakes. She got him some ice cream. They kind of bonded over getting a little bully revenge for Landon's sake. It was very interesting to see this uncle-niece bonding between the two of them. I wish we got to see more of it. It kind of makes me wonder what they could have had in the last 7 years like this. Again, it makes me wonder what Klaus and Hope could have had in the last 7 years that the Hollow took from them. So it's like, it's great to see Hope and Elijah finally have this chance to bond with each other. So there's that. And also another favorite of mine has to be Klaus and Elijah. I absolutely love these two. I also love, tying into Elijah and Hope, I love that when Elijah was bonding with Hope, he actually shared stories of Klaus and his childhood, which ties into why I love Klaus and Elijah, and it's the fact that we got to learn about the time where Klaus first discovered paints, how he first found these colors, first started painting things and shared it with Elijah, but then that also led to the first time he got beaten on by Michael, and how that brought out a promise that Elijah made to Klaus to always protect him, type of thing. So it was very interesting to get a bit more of a childhood backstory for the two brothers. It was such a, well, one of them was a very sweet story. The other one was a very, very disheartening because of the abuse. But I always love Klaus and Elijah. And then to also have Elijah tell Klaus to not sacrifice himself, to have his plan take him instead because he needed to be with his daughter, and then Klaus just refusing to kill his brother. Instead, he snaps his neck, which is technically killing him, but so that he could stop Elijah from stopping him. So it was just the love that these brothers have for each other. And then also before they go to Mystic Falls to begin with, when Elijah was questioning Klaus, why would you want me to come? Hope is like, Hope wants me to be the last person to spend her day with, and Klaus tells Elijah that he trusts him again. And it's just like, because for the whole season, Klaus has said that you're not the brother that I had, you killed him, I don't trust you anymore. And in this moment he says, I need you, I trust you, this is why I need you with my daughter, type of thing. So it's just such emotion between the two, for sure. Moving on to top 3 peeve moments. I did mention before about my Caroline kiss being disrupted by that stupid clock chiming in town square. But also a huge peeve of mine has to be the fact that Klaus plans to sacrifice himself to save Hope. Yes, I love the notion that he's willing to do anything for his daughter. I understand that. I'm just tired of him not being able to see his own daughter grow up. And there's the timer. So originally he sacrificed the first 7 years, or not so, first 5 years of her life by being Marcel's prisoner. So he didn't get to see her have a childhood. And then you have how long of season 4 it took? Maybe like a month or two with the whole issue with the Hollow. And then he had to say goodbye to her once again for another 7 years of being away from her. And now he's only with her like maybe a month, maybe, back in town after the Hollow was taken out of him. And yet now he's thinking of killing himself to save Hope, and yet that's also taking any opportunity he has of seeing her grow up. And just like, I'm just so frustrated that Klaus is not able to see his own daughter grow and become someone so great, and yet he's willing to allow everybody else to have that opportunity. It sucks. It's like, yes, Klaus has been a major villain for the Vampire Diaries, and he's been our anti-hero on the originals, and yet I don't get why he can't at least have 1 year to spend with his daughter. He doesn't even get that, and it frustrates. He's not able to have a birthday with her. He's not able to have any holidays with her. He's not able to have any of those huge milestones with her. I mean, even Elijah teaching Hope to drive. That's something Klaus should have been able to do too. I mean, that's something he should have been a part of. And I'm getting worked up over this because I really do not want Klaus to sacrifice himself in the finale, because I really want him to have the opportunity to go on Legacies. I want any of the originals to have the opportunity to go on to Legacies, to see Hope, to see her grow, to see her become a young lady and find herself and stuff, right? So it's just huge peeve right there. But anyways, moving on to what moment will I remember most when I look back on this episode. Hope's first full moon as a werewolf, or as a true hybrid, I should say. So there's that. Moving on to random questions, though. First one is, well, not really a random question, but I'm guessing splitting the Hollow into 4 separate pieces to save Klaus isn't an option once again, like they did at the end of 413. I mean, I wish for it, because even Klaus said that there's probably an answer to figure out how to save someone from the Hollow, and yet they don't have the time to find it. So I figure, like, if they at least divided that dark magic and at least bought them some time, then maybe they could figure out how to save him, right? But anyway, so there's that. Second question was, does anyone else wish that Klaus had transformed into his own wolf form, so that he could have run off with Hope as a wolf during her first full moon, like have a father-daughter wolf run together? I kind of wished for that. When he took her out into the woods, and he said, like, she should be in the woods experiencing her first full moon like her mother would have wished, I kind of wish Klaus joined her. I get why he couldn't. I still wish that he did, right? It's just something that, because Hope can never have that with Haley, so I kind of would have hoped that she would have that with her father, right? So there's that. And last question was, how was Hope able to see Haley in the afterlife? Was it because she was on the verge of death because of the dark magic, or was it a close call, or is just something in her as the hybrid that allowed her to cross between that type of a veil? So there's that. Moving on to predictions very quickly. Based off the promo for 513, series finale promo shows the Michelson family conducting a funeral for Klaus. The time of which this happened is not clear. Does he delay his sacrifice so that he can say his final goodbyes to the family? Or is this something that happened before he left town? What? I don't know. So there's that. But the synopsis for 513 reads, intent on saving Hope's life, Klaus's plan will change the lives of the Michelson family forever. Just reading that is really tearing me up inside, because I do not want to see Klaus die. I mean, like, I remember back in season 3, season 2 and season 3 of the vampires. I couldn't wait for Klaus to die. I couldn't wait for him to be gone so that the Mystic Falls gang didn't have to worry about him always coming after Elena. And then now after, 5 years later, 6 years later, I don't want to see him go. I don't want to see him die. It's too heartbreaking, for sure. But yeah, anyways, other news from that, San Diego Comic-Con, I did mention it at some point in this video, but it did happen this past weekend on July 21st. With the Legacies panel, they did reveal a bunch of stuff that is to come in season 1 of the spin-off show, focusing on Hope at 17. They also released a first look trailer for it. I will have to say that because I know there's Legacies, I mentioned in my previous video, but because I know that Legacies was happening, I automatically knew that Hope is going to survive this death threat that she has now in the originals. I knew that Lark was going to live, and that's pretty much it, because they were guaranteed in the Legacies. If only they had showed the originals during the fall of 2017, and then have us wait a few months wondering, are we going to get a Legacy spinoff or not? And then be told in May that we're having, and then in July have the proper panel where we can ask questions, because a lot of questions were asked and they couldn't say anything because that would spoil what would happen in the final 2 episodes of the originals. But instead, they have the originals still airing, and they have the panel for the Legacies while there's 2 episodes left. So it's kind of ruins the hyped up emotion. I figure that if the originals did air from October to February, I believe, then I'd probably be a lot more emotional at the possibility of Hope dying or of Klaus sacrificing himself and stuff. I just truly hope that the Michelsons survive, Klaus included, so that they have a chance to appear on Legacies to see Hope grow and stuff like I mentioned. But otherwise, guys, I am going to have a separate video about Legacies that was revealed at San Diego Comic-Con, so be on the lookout for that. I still have to record it. Yep, that's about it. I'm going to stop right there. But what do you guys think of this episode? What do you guys like about it? What do you think is going to happen in the finale? Let me know in the comments down below. I'd love to hear your thoughts, theories, and predictions about all of that. Also, don't forget to like this video, subscribe to my channel, and check out my other videos if you haven't done so already. If you want, check out my Tumblr page. The link for that is down below. I read blog promos, web clips, quotes, gifs, synopses, news, all the good stuff, all found in one place, so go check it out. I am behind and fully aware I do have to catch up. Also, WordPress account. Link for that is down below. Everything I blog online or post online is connected through WordPress. It is a work in progress, but it is more organized, so keep that in mind as well. Also, if you want a detailed recap of the episode, a play-by-play, if you will, check out my Livejournal entry. The link for that will be down below once I get it all formatted and stuff, but it's pretty much a recap of the episode as I watched for the first time. Anything I picked up on it, in moment thoughts, questions, reactions, all that. It helps me keep things in order. My memory is a little fuzzy sometimes about ordering, about episode order or event order, but it keeps things in line. It helps re-jog memories for me. I've been doing it for years now, so it helps you. Awesome. But that's the whole point of that link. Otherwise, guys, thank you so much for tuning in. Thank you so much for your absolute patience. I hope you come back next week to see what I have to say about the series finale. I really can't believe it's here already. But until then, guys, this is Mel. Wish you a great day, great week, everyone. Bye for now.